Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are here with us at part 3 of our business plan discussion. Drax, this has been a long road.
Very long road.
We've covered a lot of ground. It seems like we started over there and we've gone to way over there and talked a lot about a lot of stuff that's going to help people have a successful running business.
Absolutely. And actually, we've just really covered the introductory segments of these elements.
Yeah, for sure, because there's just so much more we could dig into it, and we'll be talking more about those aspects as we go along. But I'm hoping that people have been able to stick with us and just to be able to digest, the concepts and the outline that we've been putting out there for them. So, a lot of stuff.
It is a lot of stuff, but these things will help DJs have success and prosper.
Yeah,
and that's really our goal with ADJA is help DJs build and grow their business, help them get the tools they need to start really succeeding.
Yeah, that sounds great. We're going to be hitting our final 2 points. We're going to be doing points 6 and 7. What are we going to be covering tonight?
Management summary, financial plan.
Oh, and I love financial plans. They're just so much fun. My wife thinks My wife thinks I'm a numbers nerd. So,
hey, numbers nerds are how people make money.
Some people, that's for sure. I think it's time. Let's get into tonight's show.
Let's do it. Well, what we have next is called the management summary. This is really what people typically define as the org chart. This is your company. Now, in the case of if you're a single system operator, the org chart is going to be distributed by the CEO, the president, the treasurer, the chief financial officer, whatever, the janitor, the receptionist. And largely, you're going to find the same name on all of those buttons.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a head cook and bottle washer.
Yeah, exactly. But you still want to have an org chart. This is for Ben Miller. That's an inside joke to a good friend. You want to have the org chart, and you want your name on it, even though it seems ridiculous, because it's a top-of-mind awareness of all of the responsibilities you have. And when you keep that in the top of mind, it helps you as you start to develop pricing and start to develop what you're doing, because you're starting to realize, I'm doing a whole lot of work here. And it becomes, as you build the org chart, you can say, I don't need a receptionist because I don't get walk-in business.
Yep.
But I need a CFO because somebody needs to manage the money.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody needs to do the accounts, the receivables, the payables, and handle that. It could be an accountant you hire. It can be people that you contract. You could have one of those things being a janitor I mentioned. Well, if you have a physical office, you may have a janitor that you employ or a service that you employ to make sure your office is neat and tidy and everything's clean. You're going to have your organizational structure, which is the chart, the management team. For multi-system companies, this can be one or more people. It can also be broken down to, well, I own the company, and then I have mid-level managers who run my warehouse, and then I have others that manage my team, and that's sort of a breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
In a single system operation, that's largely going to be just the one guy. Now, in a business plan, another aspect you talk about is team gaps. Now, if we had a company, and let's say we had 20 employees, management team gaps would be with 20 employees, and let's say 5 are in management. Do we have a gap in a skill set that the company really needs to advance that's missing? And you're saying, well, why would I want a financier to know I'm missing something? Because honesty is the best policy, and if they know you're missing something, they're more likely to address with you how maybe they're the person to help fill that, or maybe they have a contact that can help fill that. So then you have, getting down in a multi-system level, the personnel plan. As a single system operator, doesn't really apply because that's you. You're the personnel. But if you have employees, this personnel plan needs to define the roles of each person, the job, how they're managed, how they're reviewed, and how they're developed to be better employees.
Mm-hmm.
So many DJs that want to run a multi-system company just look to hire a bunch of other DJs and just let them do their thing. Ideally, I think Mike Walter has a great program. He hires people. In fact, it was kind of lampooned because his ad said, no experience required. Yeah. Well, that was because he wanted energetic, young, personable, outgoing people, because he knew I'd rather teach them to do the job the way I want it done, how I want it done. He could give them the skills. He just needed the right foundational clay to mold into a great performer.
Yes.
But more than that, he has a plan for how he grows his personnel, how he starts them off at one position, and how they work through to where they're a master of ceremonies and a main performer of his company. Yes. And I really applaud Mike because he does all the right things all the right way. Mm-hmm. The last step is the financial plan. This is the one where most DJs, sorry about that, don't really like to get into the nuts and bolts. Yep. And when you talk about your financial plan, what are the important assumptions that you're making? Well, I'm going to make a lot of money because I'm a DJ. That's an assumption.
People love me. I know they're going to throw money at me.
Yes, exactly. But you have to make some assumptions about your business financially. One of those is, I assume if we do this plan, we should have earnings for the first year of this, the second, third, fourth, and fifth years. Mm-hmm. This should be the assumptions we make based on the model we've built. Now, those are important assumptions to make. But it's not just the revenue, but where will the revenue come? How will it be divided? If you only do weddings, well, will it be how many Jewish weddings, Catholic weddings? And yeah, you should keep track of that. That's a key numeric to define the services you provide. Mm-hmm. Just like if you say, I work largely for law enforcement. That's an important thing to know.
For sure.
So as you look at the assumptions you've made, now, what are the key financial indicators? What does that mean, John? What do you think that means?
A key financial indicator, be looking at what in my world, and with my disc jockey, so the financial indicators would be how are the local farmers doing? How are the other local businesses doing? And that's because we're kind of in a rural area. I know from my experience with the DJ is that these financial indicators affect my business much more than like the 2008 when the stock market and all that the world crashed. Is that I can really tie my success in the industry to how the milk price is for my farming community around here. So that's my situation, would be a key financial indicator. Not the same for everyone, obviously.
But that is perfect. I couldn't have said that better myself. The key financial indicators are, what are the things that you monitor to control your business decisions? In your case, if you found the price of milk plummeting, you'd have a pretty good indication that while events would still happen, budgets would probably start to retract, and there'd be other things to evaluate.
Yes.
There's other key financial indicators that you need to be monitoring in your business. You've set the financial goals. Have you set how you measure them? Mm-hmm. How much money? What's your cash flow? That's one we cover a bit later. But so now you come into these indicators, and now you start to come into all of your costs. And now you come into the part we talked about in the earlier episode when we talked about listing all your expenses, how much you wanted to earn, what that was, how much profit you wanted, how many events you thought you could do, and that developed your price. That also is the basis of a break-even analysis. Because once you have all of those costs drilled out prior to your profit, but that still includes the salary of paying you a wage to be the chief entertainment officer, that's your break-even analysis. That number, before that you add the pre-tax profit for the company, that's your break-even analysis. Mm-hmm. That's what you got to hit to be zero.
Yep.
Be zero. That's not making money. That's zero. The element that you want to consider is, to be a business, you want to make profit. That's why businesses exist.
Yep.
You want your stock to rise, and you want to make more money through the profit of the business than just what you pay yourself as a laborer, as an employee. So now you come into what's called typically the P&L statement, the profit loss statement. Now, that's going to define, as you look out over the next year, are you going to be profitable or are you going to lose money?
Mm-hmm.
As you look backward, it will tell you, did you make money or did you lose money? You could say the break-even analysis and projected profit loss are the same, but they're really not, because the break-even analysis is what you have to do.
Yeah.
The profit loss is sort of where you are and what you've done.
Yeah, I think the break even's that line to cross, and the profit and loss is going to show you how far below or above that line you will eventually be. That's
exactly it. So you have that profit and loss statement, and that's an important aspect for what you want to do. One of the next things that happens for most DJs that becomes problematic, you see this all the time on Facebook. The client gave me a deposit, and 6 months out from the event, they cancel the event. Can I keep their money? That's an argument for another day.
Yep.
But the reason that the DJ feels that way is because he has poor cash flow management.
Yes.
He's wimpy. You remember Wimpy?
Oh,
I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger
today. Yep.
For a hamburger today. He's living off his deposits instead of living off his profits.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really precarious place to be because it threatens the stability of your business. Ideally, if you get a deposit, you want to put that in the bank and keep it in the bank until the event is completely concluded. Now, some would argue with me about that, but if you hear me out, you'll see the wisdom of this. Let's say in the situation that I took their deposit and I spent it. They cancel their party. They now want it back. I say, well, no, it's non-refundable, and all the typical arguments come out. They decide to take me to court.
Yep.
Let's just say the judge sides with the plaintiff.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that money going to come from? Oh, I'm going to spend someone else's deposit to pay them back.
Yeah.
Where did I earn any money? I didn't. So when you take that and you have your money situated such that you put that in a savings account and you don't touch it till after the event's over, now you have contingency. If there becomes a problem, you have the option to refund their money because you think you want to, or because you think it's the right thing. Maybe a death in the family, maybe the person's getting shipped off to Afghanistan or something. You're in a positive cash position to make good business decisions. If somebody's going to sue you, you can decide to go to court, and if the judge prevails for them, which not necessarily they're going to, but it gives you the ability to say, okay, fine, here's the check and it's done. When you do that, your business is now operating properly.
Yep.
Because, well, and if I could keep an earbud in, that would be fabulous. But you're now operating properly because you're only spending the money that's lawfully due you after it's been lawfully earned. And there's a larger debate we can have in future episodes about contract and when that money actually can become dutifully earned and truly be defensible as non-refundable.
Mm-hmm.
But the position that you want to be is in the position of strength.
Yeah.
And with cash flow, this would come into I'm going to start a business as a DJ, or I'm a DJ and I'm going to go full-time. I'm going to give some advice right now that may not be popular. Do not go full-time until you've saved 6 months of basic living expense. Do not do it. The reason is because if you don't, you will be struggling with cash flow. You'll be feeling desperate because you got your mortgages due. Yep. And they're wanting to hit you for a low fee. You don't want to take it, but you're going to go, some money's better than no money. I got to get paid. You know, mama's got to buy the groceries.
Yep.
Whereas if you say, I've got a job, I want to be full-time, and you make a plan to be full-time by growing your business successfully as a part-time business owner, grow it to a point where you're able to take that DJ income instead of spending it supporting your lifestyle, i.e., hey guys, you want to be full-time? Cut your lifestyle back.
Yep.
Pocket 6 months worth of basic living expenses. Now when you make that jump to full-time, you can breathe easy because you got 6 months to get that company from the part-time level it was working to the full-time level. And you could say, but Drax, I'm doing 40 events a year at a good price. All I can tell you is when you become full-time, everything changes.
Yep.
Because that DJ income now has to replace all the income that your other job was offering because you're probably spending it. It's now going to need to provide you health care, life insurance, vacation money, all of the other things that your other job was providing. You want 6 months to structure and grow that business. And if you've grown your business as a part-time entity, utilizing the skills we've talked about, you've factored in healthcare and these other things into your plan. But now it's appropriate you can actually start to utilize that. You're going to be taking money from that business and spending it now for those things. So having that 6 month cushion is just the right thing to do.
Yep, very much so.
Next thing you're going to have is a projected balance sheet. The balance sheet tells you where your business is. We can get into that in another episode, but there's a whole discourse that you can have on balance sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Business ratios. What's the business ratio? How much of your business is made up of one type of service? How much is of another, both in hours, dollars, and number of events? Those things are important. And then the last step of 7 is your long-term plan. What's your 5-year plan? When Peter Mary was president, I've said it a number of times, we sat down and we put together a business model for 10 years for the ADJA. We structured it out, and I worked to that plan after Peter retired as president, and that's largely contributed to our stability and our growth and our success.
Mm-hmm.
Was because we had a long-term plan. And when you have a long-term plan, that means you're taking those other key financial indicators. You're taking the other work we've done on the number of schools, the number of births, the number of marriages. These things all play into the role of how things are going to go. Because if there's births, that means there'll be christenings. That means there'll be potentially bar mitzvahs. There'll be sweet 16s. All of these things, knowing the births today, tell me how many sweet 16s or potentially might be in 16 years from now.
Sure.
You might say, I'm not going to be in business 16 years from now. I'm 40. I would say, but you might want to have a business that you can sell.
Yes.
Having a long-term plan makes your business sellable. Now you can take this well-worn business plan that you've cycled through several years, maybe a decade or more, and you can drop it on a prospective buyer with your financials, and you've got something to sell.
For sure.
You've got an asset that can carry you out your retirement, that can take you home. So that being the case, stupid earbud, that be the case, that's going to give you the impetus to build a solid business, because maybe you're going to say 16 years from now, I won't still be running it, but your son might want to.
For sure, there's definitely.
Your daughter might want to. After all, we'll take our children on most of our work jobs anyway, don't we? Take a daughter to work, take your son to work day. If you're a DJ, take your kid out on an event or two. Show him what it's like. You may find talent is in his genes. Mm-hmm. So you want to build a business based on something that you can sell or you can pass on to your children.
For sure.
And even if you pass on something to your children that's an asset that they could in turn sell, that's a great part of your estate. Mm-hmm. And these are the 7 key indicators of a business plan.
Yeah.
They're not overly complicated. They're a little broad, and we're going to get into each of them as we go forward in future. But hopefully we've outlined a good roadmap for you to have great success.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's something that I really hope people take from this is that it can be big, it can be intimidating, but really, as you mentioned earlier, if you just take it in small bites, in incremental steps, it really isn't that bad, and it's the benefit to your business is so great that you really don't want to overlook it.
That's exactly correct, John. These are the things which will help you not get sucked into Facebook arguments about pricing, about bottom feeders. Can we do something as an industry? Can we stop calling people bottom feeders just because they charge less than us?
Yeah.
Can we also stop calling people price gougers just because they charge more than us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the end of the day, everybody is a bottom feeder to somebody, and everybody's a price gouger to somebody else.
Yeah, precisely.
So let's just take those out of our vocabulary. Take them out of the vernacular of the DJ industry and look at everybody as a colleague somewhere along the road to having great success.
Yeah. Good stuff, Drax. Good stuff. For those of you watching tonight, thank you for watching. This is a lot of information, a lot of stuff there. We'll have some notes and such down in the description area down below there, so you can kind of follow along with the things we were talking about. If you have questions, comments, thoughts, the comment area down below that, the description area, put them down there for us, and we'll reply to those and answer as many as we possibly can. And Drax, we've got a lot of areas to cover in some upcoming shows.
We certainly do. I don't know if the video is frozen on your end, but it's definitely frozen on my end.
No, we're still good here. So
awesome. Well, that is great to go. I'm glad to know that, because I was thinking, I'm sitting there talking and people are looking at me with my hands up.
No, we're still working fine. And it must be that cold weather that you're having in Phoenix.
Yeah, that really cold weather. Let's see, it's 102 outside right now. But in any case, we want to give everybody a big shout out, invite everybody to the Las Vegas DJ show. Disc Jockey News will be there covering it. There's going to be tons of great content. Most of what we've talked about in these sessions will be taught at the Las Vegas DJ show by experts.
Yeah, a variety of different people will be covering different aspects of this, because, again, this is such a critical part of having a successful business.
Awesome. Well, it's been great to be with you today, John.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Again, ladies and gentlemen, down below, comments, questions, thoughts. We thank you for watching. And this is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV and Dr. Drax from the ADJA. Good night.
Thanks.